Also this morning we have a packed programme for you with lots of stars. Lulu, Chaka Khan, Anastasia are going to be here to tell us about working together on a new tour.
And Gordon Ramsay chatting about his saucy side for comic relief.
And Carol's here with the weather.
And coming up later on Breakfast, we're going to be speaking to the union that represents postal workers ahead of their vote starting today on strike action.
There have been small-scale strikes around the country, local strikes, but about working practices. But now there's going to be a ballot about whether to have a big UK-wide strike. We're talking to Dave Ward. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the Communication Workers Union. He's going to be here shortly after 7 o'clock. If you work as a postal worker, or if you have concerns, if you're a business, or perhaps, you know, some of your mail has been held up and
Get in
been
touch.
affected. Yeah.
Any questions?
This is Breakfast with Bill Turnbull and Sian Williams.
This morning we're talking about plans to give people in England more freedom of choice when it comes to picking a GP. Not everyone thinks it's a good idea. We're going to speak to Dr. Rosemary about it in just a few minutes.
Also coming up in the programme, thousands of students are starting university with serious money worries because there are major delays in processing their loans. A lot of you have been in contact with us about that. We've got the Chief Executive of the Student Loans Company here to explain what's going wrong.
The chef Gordon Ramsay is going to be here later talking about what he's doing for comic relief. It's very saucy, if you get my drift.
Yes. And singers Lulu, Chaka Khan and Anastasia will be telling us about their new show. It's called Here Come the Girls.
First, though, our main story. Postal workers across Britain will start voting today on whether to go on strike across the UK.
Ballot papers are being... Parents are being warned this morning that children could be coming into contact with dangerous levels of lead on garden toys.
Because lead's found in soil, amongst other things, and scientists say even very small amounts can harm a child's development.
Let's talk to Dr. Alan Stewart about this. He's an expert on how lead affects the body. We don't want to get everybody too worried about this. This comes from research.
Very interesting. 17 minutes to 7, this is Breakfast. These are the main stories this morning.
Time for a look at the weather. Here's Carol.
Talking about the row over public spending, it's just beginning. It's going to get...
This is Breakfast with Bill Turnbull and Sian Williams.
Postal workers across the UK start voting on strike action over pay and conditions. And we're going to be asking Dave Ward, the Deputy General Secretary of the Communication Workers Union, why he thinks a national strike ballot is necessary in a few minutes' time. If you've got any questions for him, get them into us quick.
We wish him all the very best with that. Those are the morning's top stories. In just a few minutes, we're going to be catching up with Richard Westcott. Remember, Richard is on the road this week visiting the small businesses around the UK that he went to last year to see just how well they're coping with the recession.
First, though, if you live in one of the areas where postal strikes have been held in the past few weeks, you'll know how frustrating it is not to receive letters and parcels you've been expecting, and it could be about to get worse. Because
postal workers start voting today on whether to take widespread strike action over changes to pay and conditions. We can talk to Dave, Bill Turnbull and Sian Williams.
Our main story this morning, postal workers across Britain start voting today on whether to go on strike across the UK.
Ballot paper...
He likes chips, he gets fed. They're not, I can tell you, they're not emotional things, chickens. They're really not.
It's just the clucking through the window.
What's clucking through? It's saying, I'm here, give us some chips.
Those are our main stories this morning.
And then you've got chicken and chips.
Yeah. Coming up on Business Later, Simon, I'm sad about it. Simon will be finding out how the high street giant John Lewis is weathering the recession. Figures out for John Lewis this morning. He'll bring them to you.
I wouldn't worry, the chicken's not sad, believe me, it's not.
I like how...
All this week on Breakfast, we're travelling around the UK finding out how the recession is affecting you, and we're revisiting some of the people and the businesses that we first met a year ago to see how they're coping now.
Well, today